Hello ladies, it's Ruth and
Hi ladies, it's Dagmar.
Today we're going to talk about the importance of warm-up. We kind of jumped ahead and we gave you the cardio routine before we actually talked about some warm-ups that you can do, and it's really important to get the body ready for something that's a little more stressful to the body. We want to take the temperature up, so of course, you know, if you have access to cardio equipment, that's helpful, but there's definitely ways that you can get the joints moving so that they are more prepared for some of the harder stuff that we're going to do. So let's go through a routine with you today so we can kind of give you some things you can do.
So let's start maybe with the high knees. So high knees, you raise the knees only as high up, so you don't need to tuck the tail under.
Yeah, you want to keep, I'm sideways, so I can show you that you want to make sure you're not doing this, right? You're not collapsing in the spine, you're staying nice and neutral.
If you want to get a little more stretch, you maybe hug the knee, but again, you don't want to be bending forward. So you'll find what works the best for you, right? You don't need to be raising the knees super high up. So that's your high knees, and you can do it like walking on the line forward and turn around back. You don't need to be in the spot.
Right.
Then next we do stretching, limbering the hamstrings even more, so straight leg raises. I like to add little reach across to get little shoulder warm up as well. So it's all about really just getting the range of motion that you don't need to compromise that spine, the pelvis not tilting, you just stay in that neutral.
Right.
So that's your straight legs, and then I like to do some butt kickers. That's gonna lengthen your quads here, the front of your thighs.
And the thing about this, if I can interject, is that a lot of people lose, because they don't have the core stability, they lose their pelvis, they go into more of an anterior tilt, and then they end up feeling right here in their lower back. So you got to make sure that this is connected and that you're not letting that happen.
And I'm not really literally kicking my butt.
Right. I think that would be hard to do, unless we can kick each other's butt.
Right. And I like to add little rows here, but you know, totally up to you. If you feel like, first you might really start with more isolated, so you get that rhythm before you add more other joints moving.
Yeah.
So that would be, and I like to do little hip openers this way, like little rotations. And then also you can go the other direction. And you could do one leg at a time.
And then you may have noticed me do that and just kind of fall backwards. So this works on balance too. So there's another benefit to doing these.
So I have clients, they need to start sometimes just holding onto the wall.
Right.
And that's perfectly fine.
It is.
Because it requires actually a lot of balance. Yeah. So it's going to improve your balance, and if you keep doing this on a regular basis before you work out, or even just do it.
Yeah, because it can be an exercise.
Right, exactly. So you're gonna be amazed how your balance gonna improve. If you add walking, then all of a sudden you feel much more stable, and that's gonna help you in your life too, right? Maybe if you prevent the falling, or if you happen to fall, you can recover much faster, prevent the injury. So it's not only like, okay, this is some dynamic stretching for the warm up before my workout, so just you can use it in the other ways as well.
Yeah, definitely. And then we also want to do upper body. We threw in a little, like Dagmar was showing us some stuff she does with the lower, and that's good. But if you want to just isolate, you can start with some shoulder rolls.
And then you can add maybe elbow, like circles with your elbows. And I like to call it like a spiral, so I'm starting with smaller and then larger, and I go only as big, so I don't need to compromise my shoulder joint. If I'm a little tight, I don't want to end up raising that shoulder doing it. So
not like this.
Yeah, and then you can add full circles. Like really, that joint is a ball and socket, just like in the hip joint, so it's like WD-40, and you're adding more and more fluid, just kind of
exactly.
Oiling it.
Yeah, it's starting to get nice and lubricated as you're moving it.
So hopefully it doesn't sound like an old squeaky door, right?
Well, and it might sound crunchy. Like sometimes my shoulders are like, oh, that's a little crunchy, but the more I do it, it's like, oh, that's starting to feel better.
So start smaller before you add more range of motion. I really like to start smaller. And then, of course, you can do some nice external rotations.
And we can row and pull.
Right.
You know, you can do some reaches, and like Dagmar was pointing out before we did the video, we were talking about, you can even just go through the motions you would be doing with weights or, you know, cables or whatever, just to warm. This is like nice for the elbow joint. So just any way you can move the arms and shoulders. We do some warm-ups when we're working with clients, sometimes with tubes, which is really good for shoulder stabilization. We'll do that in another video.
Yeah, we'll make sure we'll do it.
Actually, some of them were in that shoulder video that I did for you guys. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So, there's already a couple exercises for the rotator cuff.
Yeah. Yep. So there you go. You got to make sure you're warming up. It's really important before you go into anything more strenuous. So I hope you'll use this and stay healthy.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Have a great day.
All
Thanks
right.
for watching. See
Bye.
ya.